so you know. So welcome. My name is Amber Gagliardi. I'm the librarian here at the Middle Country Public Library, and you see me in a number of the craft programs and also the gardening programs. This one's kind of neat because it is a crossover. Diana does grow all her own flowers, and that's amazing. And she is obviously a very talented artist and crafter and gardener. So we are so happy to have her with us. She's done a lot of programs here at the library. She's been a part of the Women's Expo, which we missed at this point. Hopefully it comes back in person this year. So at this point, I would like to welcome Diana Conklin to this program to lead us through this project today.
Hi, Diana.
Hi, thanks, Amber. All right, Zoom, here we are. And we have a good turnout. This is really nice. All right, so my name's Diana Conklin. Some of you may have done program with me before, either in person or I've even done a Zoom back in, I guess it was during the summertime or maybe the fall. So I'm in my drying room. As you can see behind me, all the hydrangeas, drying most of the flowers that I grow. I do hang them up here, but they're put away in boxes for better storage. But hydrangeas don't fit so well into boxes, so they stay where they are. So tonight, we're gonna make a lavender lemon leaf wreath with hydrangea. And so I'm gonna start. Does anybody have any questions to start with? I'm gonna review what's in the kit, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. What you may want to do to start with is get your glue gun plugged in so it's nice and warm when we do start. Another thing about tonight's class is I'm going to zoom along, no pun intended. I'm going to probably make the project faster than you are tonight, but if hopefully as you're working away, you can pay attention to what it is that I'm teaching. Did somebody have a question? Nope. Okay, good. So another thing that you might want to do, I'm going to switch the camera actually at this point.
Why did the orange stop?
Is somebody have a question?
What happened is somebody just joined, so they're probably just getting settled. I just muted them. They can certainly unmute themselves when they get.
Oh, okay. That's Tiffany,
Yes.
I see. Or
Yes.
okay,
So
that's fine.
And it looks like there's 3 people joining on that call, so they probably just were chatting and getting settled. So
perfect. So what I ask is, I love interaction and I do love questions, but if you have any background noise going on, you're in my ear here. And so I can hear every little noise in my right ear. So if you could just mute yourself, if there's anybody speaking in the background or any music or television or anybody else in the room. So that would be helpful. And then you can just unmute yourself to speak to me. So I'm going to switch cameras here. And we have an overview of tonight's project. So plug your glue gun in. Get that warming up. And before we even review what is in tonight's kit, I want you to either go over to your sink and quickly use the spritzer at the sink to wet your hydrangea. I know this is a big, huge piece of hydrangea. You probably have gotten a much smaller piece. And I want you to liberally mist. I'm going to do it away from my kit here. Liberally mist your hydrangea and set it aside so that the reason that we're doing this is so that we have a nice soft hydrangea to work with. Okay, so I'm going to review now. This is our project here tonight. This is a lavender lemon leaf wreath, and my lavenders are not glued in. These lemon leaves actually come from, we're going to use a couple different types of lemon leaves. We have the naturally dried ones, which are lighter green, and we have the darker ones that are preserved. So we've got 2 types of lemon leaf, which make for a very nice variegation in color with our wreath. So you're also you have hydrangea. You have some boxwood, I believe, in the kit. I never know when I'm putting the kits together for different libraries, but I believe you have some preserved color painted boxwood. And I may have even put some dried eucalyptus in there. You should all have a wreath frame. You should all have your sample of the lavender. I made this for you, and you're going to be making the rest of them tonight, but this is how they should be. I'll show you how, but this is the size and what they should look like. You may, I'm pretty sure, have a measuring tool, which is just a little white tab. And last but not least, you have your piece of wire here, and that is going to be your hanger. I always hope and pray everybody's got every single thing that I just talked about. So we're going to make our hanger first. You're going to take your wire and cut it right in, find the middle, fold it in half. And if anybody ever has any questions, please pipe in and ask. I may be moving a little faster than you. You're going to cut your wire into 2 pieces. You're not going to need the second piece. You're just going to need 1/2 of that wire. You're going to take that wire and push it through your wreath like this, right through the middle, you know, right in through the middle here. And you're going to twist your 2 ends together, just like a twisty tie. So it doesn't matter where on the wreath this is at this time. Later, you'll need to know where your hanger is. So what I like to do is to take that twisty tie and turn it into the wreath. So it's inside the wreath now, and you have this loop here. There is a loop, and twist that loop 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, I was trying to read about Brian.
There. So it doesn't really matter. You're really just making a hanger, however it works for you. I just showed you how I do it. Did somebody have a question? I heard some voices. Okay. So the hanger is on. My glue gun is heated. Oh, somebody's got a dog in my ear. Maybe you want to mute. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with the natural light colored lemon leaf. I'm going to set everything aside. The measuring tool is to help you so that your wreath turns out all one size and doesn't get longer in one place and shorter in another, fat and skinny, fat and skinny. You're going to, this is a guide. It's to help you. So I'm going to start. It's a general guide, but you can see here how I've laid it out and I'm cutting pieces. So this one is going to have 2 leaves on it, but for the most part, these are going to be a single leaf. Now, if you happen to have a gigantic leaf that's really longer than your measuring tool, I don't think I have any that are too long, but here's one. This is the preserved, which we're not using yet. But if you have a lemon leaf that is longer, even the slightest bit, it's best to use the measuring tool. Take your scissors and trim from the bottom. Don't trim the top because you want the top to be as natural looking as possible. But did you see what I did there? So also, if you have a leaf that's got, I tried not to give any of them out, but an imperfection. Let's see if I can find what an imperfection. Here's an imperfection. So an imperfection is a little bug bite. It's like when this was alive, an insect bit it. Then use your scissors to trim it. I like to make use of materials in the best way possible with the least amount of waste. Okay, so we're not using the preserved dark leaves right now. We're only working with the lighter green dried ones. And we are using the measuring tool as an approximate to, and we're breaking a little pile of them because this is what we're going to start with. See, there's an imperfection on my leaf. So I'm going to take the scissors and trim that down. Okay, so these actually, you don't need to clip these. They kind of break right off. But you see up here at the top, that one is going to be a double. It's going to have 2 leaves on it. Okay, 2, 3. And don't worry if they're smaller, there's definitely a use for it. So this is garbage, nothing left on it, into the garbage. Some of the leaves may be really small, save those for after. We're going to make a base first. We're going to start making a base. So I'm pulling off my leaves and I'm going to start gluing next. Okay.
Diana,
Yes.
somebody was asking about how many leaves should they prep?
I would do about 12 for starters, depending on the size leaf. Now, the size I have, if they're all big leaves like I have here, which is approximately the size of the measuring tool, I would say 10 to 12. That's just for starters. It doesn't matter. You're going to use every leaf you have probably in the kit. So the way that I apply the leaf or stick the leaf to the wreath base is there's a front and a back. The front, usually the leaf has a natural curl to it in some cases, and you can see how it kind of bends like that a little bit. So the back is going to be the part that it's bending away from. So the back of the leaf down at the bottom, down near where you pulled it off the main stem, you're going to apply a little bit of glue. And it doesn't matter what direction you're going in, but whatever direction you choose, stick with that throughout the whole wreath. Like I would not, this is not the way the next one would be put on. You're going to put the next one on. So I'm moving along. You might, if this is too hot to hold, you may want to take your scissors and just hold it down for the count of about 10 or 15. So I'm on to the next one. This is important here to take a look up if you're gluing right now. I'm doing the glue again, right there. You're gonna stick your next one about an inch or so away so that there's a distance, because we're going to be filling in underneath here with the other colored leaf, with the darker ones. So for now, we're just getting around that wreath really fast. And notice how my leaves are right on top of the base. They're not out poking out like this.
Diana?
Not yet. Yes.
One more question. Could you just do a close-up of the measuring tool that you're using? Because somebody is saying they don't have it. But how big? It's just a small piece of paper that is?
So how many people, I may not have put it in because it's not super important. But this is about a little shy of 3 inches. How about a general consensus of, did some people get these in their it's hard. Sometimes it's in the bottom of the bag and you don't see it. Yeah. So I did
like a twist tie. That you would
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a little twist tie. Yeah. Okay. So I did put them in this kit. Okay. So this is about, take another look into your bag. It's probably in the bottom. So it is about a little shy of 3 inches. So if you want, didn't get one of these for whatever reason, maybe you want to get a ruler. You just don't want to have these gigantic leaves. Look at the difference in the size here. You want them to be all similar in size or smaller. So this one, remember how I showed, we're not doing the dark leaves yet, but you may need to trim the bottom, and you always trim from the bottom unless you're cutting off an imperfection. So you want your leaves to be about the same size. And back to placement, I placed one, and then the other one is a little bit of a distance away. And take a note that we're only applying the glue onto the bottom part right here, right? A little bit of glue right on the back side of that leaf and place that down because you want it to pop up so you can stick more leaves underneath. And it is working right on top of the wreath frame. We're not sticking them off, not yet anyhow. We're not putting them off to the side. Let me get this clear so you can see off to the, they're not going off to the side yet. Right now, we're sticking right to the top surface. So once again, I'm making my way around the wreath, a little bit of glue and stick. And so far I've got 4 leaves going on 5. Give a little distance in between them. You can see I'm almost halfway. I am halfway around my wreath. We're going to be putting things in underneath. So don't glue that whole leaf down. They are dry. They're freshly dried though, these leaves. So they have a little bit of flexibility, but not a lot. The darker green ones will be easier to work with. Glue. Anybody have any questions at this point? I know I'm zipping along here. So this is an interesting leaf. I'm going to try to gently coax it. It's got a fold, but all of these interesting little crinkles and folds add to the interest of the wreath. We're going to go around again and fill with the darker leaves, and then you're going to go back and use the lighter leaves, and eventually your wreath is going to look nice and full. All right, I'm almost to the end here. Look at that. Okay, how many did I use? Ouch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was 9. Okay, so just to get, that was an idea, 9 or 10. Okay, so this is what your wreath should look like. The leaves should be going in one direction. Doesn't matter which way, as long as every leaf is going the same direction. And they are right now on top of the wreath. They're not shooting out or shooting in. So now I'm going to prepare with that measuring tool, which is about 3.5 inches. I mean, 3 inches, just shy of 3 inches. I am going to prepare my dark leaves, the same thing. So this is an enormous one. See, this is the size. So I'm going to line it up and I'm going to trim the bottom off of this big leaf. The reason that we want things to be approximately the same size is so that our wreath is consistent as well. Okay. So now the same thing, you can see these are very flexible. You can really fold them. The same thing, we're going to put glue on the bottom down at the base. And we're going to slide that right in underneath, and you can use your finger or you can use the scissors to trap that down. I am going to, Amber, can you mute everybody right now?
Yes, I will work on that.
Great, thank you.
I think it's,
All right. So. Don't want to mute myself.
yes, if you
Good.
ask a question, feel free to unmute, but we were getting some background noise and I wasn't
Thank
sure who
you.
it was coming from.
Thanks, Amber. So a little bit of glue on the back, and now I'm moving to the next one. You want to try to slide that in as far as you can because we are going to continue to add to the wreath. So at this point you can go, you notice how I can angle out a little bit here. It's angled out from the original. and then you can also angle in gently though. You don't want to get too carried away with that glue. Next one, I'm going to kind of tilt it in a little bit. Some of the, so you're going to make your way around. It may begin to look a little awkward. Don't worry about it because we are going to be going back around multiple times, filling in and rounding our wreath off. I'm moving so fast, my glue isn't drying fast enough. There we go. You really do want to make sure that these stay in there because that is, you don't want it to be hanging on the wall and a leaf fall out. So it is important to make sure there's contact. Use your scissors or clippers to create pressure for making contact. Okay. And dot of glue back there on the bottom. And this one's going in a little bit. Use your scissors to push down. If your fingers don't fit in there or if you're afraid of burning, this is highly likely in this project. Okay. So we're going around. This is the second time around with our leaves. We are on to the dark ones for the moment, alternating in between and going in and out just very gently though. And you can see it's looking a little lopsided, but don't worry because first of all, I'm not all the way around. And second of all, we still have plenty of leaves to go in and even it out. Okay, in a little bit. So this wreath will be long lasting, especially if you keep it indoors. It's probably not optimal to put it on the front door where it might be exposed to weather or humidity, dampness. This likes a dry house, a stable environment. Okay, getting close. I'm getting only small leaves left, but that's fine. As long as you can get around that wreath. I think this was my last one. Okay, so I've made it completely around the wreath twice. Now, a good thing to do, a really great way to check yourself. I don't have to because I've got the camera and I can look up at my computer and I can see. But what you may want to do is take your wreath at a certain point and set it down on the floor and look over top of it, look down on it. And this is going to give you, it would be sort of like that or hang it. But I think that looking over top of it can be helpful. Just drop it onto the floor and take a look at it. And that is going to tell you where you need to add more pieces. So at this point, I am moving into smaller leaves. So remember, we're going to go back to this one. We're going to alternate now between, you can use dark ones and light ones all in the same. Right now, we've got our base made and we are filling. So we're going to visit what you do with a piece like this that's got the two leaves on it, which I showed you how to use the measuring tool. What I'm going to do is put a little dot of glue on there, and I'm going to make that leaf kind of join it with the other leaf a little bit. So it's easier to put in. What I'm also going to do is lose the stem. So now flip it over, put a little glue on there, and wherever you saw that you needed to add to round out your wreath, whether it means that you're going to make it tilt in or go out, you're probably not going to need to do any more right on top. When I say tilt in or tilt out, that means your leaf could come out like that. or it could go in a little bit like that. So I'm thinking over here, especially since I'm still seeing my base over here on this side, I'm just gonna grab up a dark leaf and I'm going to put that on right there. So we're evening out. We're in the stage of evening out our wreath. If you came in a little late, so obviously we're using hot glue guns, so those should be plugged in. We also dampened our hydrangea with either the plant mister or go over to the sink and use the spritzing wand there and get these things nice and damp and set them aside so that when we're ready to work with them, they're not too brittle. They have a nice dampness to them. That they're going to dry out again, but for now, just working with them, they'll be nice and soft. So right now, we are going back in and randomly, we're not going around the wreath in a consecutive way like we were. We're just jumping around, adding leaves where we think that we need them. So that's what I'm doing, wherever I think that I need a leaf. And this is where you're going to use up your leaves. So we're just still working, even though you have other kinds of botanicals, we're still only working with the lemon leaves, the dark ones, which are preserved, and the light dried one, the naturally dried one. So we're moving into some smaller leaves, which I happen to have here. Not a big deal. You're going to eventually be able to, especially with the smaller leaves, that had an imperfection on it, and I glued it down anyhow. When I say an imperfection of, you can see a little insect bite on that. I'm just going to take the scissors and I'm going to trim that out of there. So you can glue the shorter leaves to some of the already existing leaves. So here's another double, 2 leaves. I put a little bit of glue, just a dot, and I tack them together so that they look like that. And then I get rid of the stem. I don't need the stem. And put that glue along the back there, right at the bottom, not the whole leaf, but just the bottom. And I'm working on random placement, trying to round out my wreath. And you can see some of the frame is showing through over on this side. So that's what I'm working through at this point. I've got a bunch of short leaves here. Actually, there's 3 on that one. So I'll do what I did before, just a dot of glue, tack it down, and another dot of glue, just the tiniest little dot, and tack that down. So I have a leaf like that. Lose the stem. And I'm going to probably put that maybe right there. So I'm evening out my wreath. A good thing to do is to put it on the floor and look at it from above. And that will show you where you need to add a few more leaves. So I'm kind of bearing in. You may want to take some of the, if you have extra leaves at this point, and begin to put them in so that they wrap a little bit, not dramatically, but around the back side of the wreath. Be careful with this though. You don't want these leaves poking out any further than what you've established already. So that's why the short leaves are very good for the kind of wrapping them around the back. I want to show you, if I can, your back side is still going to show. Now it won't show, but it will be there. So don't get yourself nuts about trying to hide the back side. Once this is hung on the wall, the back of the wreath, and it's not ugly, won't show. Okay. So I see I need a little bit more work here. If you can see that, maybe because it kind of looks like an oval. So I might put a couple up here and a couple down here. just to round it out a little bit. I think I'm beginning to run out of leaves. No, I only have tiny leaves at this point, which is fine. So 2 leaves and join them. Blue. And glue those together like that. All right, where's that one going? Right there. Put some glue down there. So you still want to only be putting the glue, as I'm showing you, right at the bottom back of the leaf. You still want to keep available this. So you see how my fingers are sliding in under the leaves? That is what you still need, because we're going to be decorating, and that is where we're going to be putting the decorations. All right. I'm gonna do
Are
a
the
little more.
gold leaves for later?
Yep, that's part of decorating. Right now, we're
Okay.
just doing lemon leaves. Lemon leaves are what the base is pretty much made of. But and I'm almost done here with the lemon leaves, but you will probably be using most of your, or if not all, every single one of your lemon leaves. I am down to using just the little ones, which is fine. I'm not getting them all the way into the frame. At this point, I'm just sticking them to another leaf. See this one? I'm not, this is actually a no-no, but if you can, because it sticks out so far, I'm going to gently try to dislodge it, and I did, and I need to readjust it. Put that in there a little further. There, that's much better. Okay, I'm going to put one more over here, and let's see. I think I'm going to use this last. There's 3 of them here. Do that little tapping technique that I showed you. Tack, tack, tack. So this is such an exciting time of year. What am I doing tomorrow? Actually, me too. I'm going on a walk tomorrow. I'm out in Hampton Bays, so I'm going over to Sag Harbor, and there is a wildlife refuge over there where you can actually put bird seed in your hands, and the little birdies come and they land on your hands. So tomorrow I'm taking a walk. It's out on the beach, and the daffodils. The beach is going to close April 1st for piping plover, which is a protected bird out here. And I am going to go for this walk before they close the beach, because out along this spit of beach out of Sag Harbor, it's on the bay side on Peconic Bay. There was an old estate, and the house is no longer there, but the daffodils that were planted are, and there are thousands of daffodils in bloom right now. So I'm going on a little beach walk tomorrow to see the daffodils. All right, almost there. I think that I have accomplished a beautiful wreath. You will want to put this down on the floor and assess it from an overview that it looks nice, because this is your base. This is your wreath. Now you're decorating. So we're going to set this aside, and I'm going to review with you at this point how to make your lavenders. So you're going to use up all your lavender and make as many of these as you can. There's no set number of how many you put per bunch, but the guideline will be for you to, it should be the same size. So where is my measuring tool? You want this to be your measuring tool. So I actually made it a little long, but that's okay. You can work with that. I made mine a little long. So I'm going to show you a little trick. So you're going to make as many of these as you can with your lavender. But before you cut the stems, you're going to put a little bit of glue after you wrap the wire. This is going to help you in case you didn't get a good tight wrap, that those little lavenders are not going to go anywhere. So here's what you do. You're going to make a little gathering. In this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's different. Don't go with that because some lavenders are bigger than others. Mix your little lavenders with your big ones. Don't save the big one or the little ones for last because you'll have a bunch with just little ones in it. Mix them in. So notice how I'm holding. I'm pinching in my hand. If you want, you can dampen these with the plant mister. So I want another small one there. That's my bunch right there. So you want to take your measuring tool and pinch right above the measuring tool here. See where my thumb is? Right there where my thumbnail is where I'm going to wrap the wire. So there's a little bit extra with the measuring tool. So here's how you're going to take that other piece of wire. You should have a few of these wires in your kit. So you're going to take that other half of the wire, start with that you got from your hanger. I'm going to tuck that under my thumb right there. It's tucked under my thumb, and I'm going to take that wire. I'm going to go around one time and I'm going to pull, but not super hard because these things have a tendency to want to snap. They're dry. So second time I go around, I'm going to go down a little bit and then you can really pull. You've already done your first wrap, so it's a little wider, but then when you go down a little bit, you can pull harder. You don't want to go down too far, and you still want to be careful because you don't want them to snap. So go around about 3 times and make it nice and tight if you can, and snip. Oh, wait, before you snip, I will snip because I know my wire's nice and tight, but before you snip, take the hot glue and just put a little bit around and then blow on it and you can snip. Don't snip your bottom stems yet. Just make as many of these as you have lavender. It could be 5. 5 is what I have. Odd numbers are really good to be thinking about when you're making some wreaths or any kind of arrangement on the wall or even a centerpiece. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is what you're shooting for. You should have ample lavender for 5 bunches. So I'm putting together my next cluster like that, and take that next little segment of wire there, tuck it. I'll use that measuring tool to check yourself and tuck that under your thumb. Go around one time, don't pull too hard, but pull a little bit, and then drop down below the next level down just an inch, a tiny bit, smidge. Whoops. And then you can pull. Whoops, don't pull too hard because they will snap, and go around one more time. So 3 times. 3 times is the charm. Okay, I've got myself wrapped up. Now a little bit of glue just for backup on that, and just snip the wire, not the stems yet. Okay, so I've got 3 bundles so far. I'm going to go on to the next one. Add a couple small ones in there. Mix the small with big. so you don't end up with just small ones at the end and your bundle looks different than all the other ones. Okay, so we're all set. Now I'm moving to the next piece of wire. It's a nice long piece. I think I put ample wire in there. I'm not sure how many I dropped into your kit, but there should be plenty. Tuck that under your thumb. Go around one time. Don't pull too tight, but snug. And the next time around, go down a little bit on the stem. And then you can pull tight and go around one more time. And put the glue on so that when you cut, you don't move around, and cut your wire off. Okay, 4. Waha, I'm on to my last one. And if you have extra little lavenders, you can make a sachet with them and put them in your underwear drawer. Okay, and a couple of small ones. Bundle that up. Tack that wire and use your measuring tool. Double check yourself. Always be checking to make sure. Oops, that one's a little long. And tack that wire. Go around once, snug, and then go just drop down a little tiny bit. And then you can pull pretty tight. You want these to be pretty snug, but you don't want to pull so tight that they actually snap. So put that glue on. Like that. And I've got 5 bundles of lavender. So, and they all have a little bit of glue around the wire wrapping. I've got this much lavender left. Okay, so at this point, my glue is probably pretty hardened, and you can take that measuring tool, just cut a little bit below, not much. You should be nice and secure at this point. You want to cut a little bit below the wire. So cut all of your lavenders a little bit below the wire. This is why we put the glue on, because in some cases, if you haven't wrapped your wire tight enough and you go to do this part right here, the lavender just falls away. Okay, so I got my 5 and okay. So at this point, lavender set aside, we can play with the boxwood a little bit here. Using your measuring tool. You still want to be careful with this because it is dried. Measure and carefully. If you cut carefully, you get another clip out of it. You get another one. So cut carefully your measuring tool, your boxwood pieces. And say carefully, you just want, I love these clippers because they have such sharp points. And maybe you want to clip 5 pieces, 3 or 5, whatever you have enough for here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got my boxwood prepared. I've got my lavender prepared. My hydrangea should be nice and damp at this point. So you probably have way more hydrangea in your kit than you're going to need, but this is really only an accent part of the project. As you can see with this wreath. Are we fuzzy? We're fuzzy. I'm going to tell me if I'm fuzzy because I think I can correct it. Watch this. Yes. All
Yeah,
right.
that looks good.
Yeah, you have to let me know. I think it's actually my Wi-Fi signal, even though
No, you're
I
fuzzy
have.
again.
Oh,
But maybe
goodness.
it's because you're moving around.
No, it's there we are. All right. just let me know and I can fix it. So you can see where the hydrangea is, it's only an accent. So that means that you're going to take this dampened hydrangea and you're going to break it into the tiniest little pieces. So you want to make 5 of those. And you're probably going to have a lot of leftover hydrangea, but when I say just tiny, look at my thumbnail and look at how big that little cluster of hydrangea is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 5 little clusters of hydrangea, set aside the rest. I am not sure if you guys got any of the naturally dried eucalyptus, but it looks like this. These are silver dollar eucalyptuses. If you did, I'm going to show you how to use them.
I did.
Oh, good. All right. Yay. So the way to use them is just a leaf at a time. We're just going to glue them in a leaf at a time here. So you may want to pull off what you got. And so make a little pile of those. And so let's see. And then we have the holly. This is actually holly from my holiday projects. And this is how you can upcycle stuff. I am, in fact, upcycling a lot of my evergreens this year. The boxwood is from the holiday projects. This is Leland cypress, and it is dry now, but I was able to give it a little color, and it is very good. You can upcycle that. You can even go out in your yard and pick some. You can add to this wreath if you want. So anyhow, I upcycle these. This has been painted with a little bit of green on it, and then I dusted it with gold. So I think I gave everybody at least 3 of them. Let's start with those. Start by placing them on one right here. Let's see, can you see that? 1, 2, 3. So evenly place those into your wreath, sort of on a triangle. 1, 2, 3. At this point, before you actually glue these in, let's do this. Flip your wreath over and find where your hanger is, because at this point, it's going to be important in the decorating process if you know where your top is. So set your wreath down with your top, and now you know. So now revisit where you're going to place those 3. 1, 2, 3. I never like to do predominant things right at the top. I always like to set them off on the side. 1, 2, 3. So that I don't have 3 here. Let's see if I can find another holly leaf. I don't have 3 on my work table. I don't think. You all get the idea. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm going to, right now we're just doing a placement. We can revisit for gluing. I'm not gluing anything in quite yet. So I'm putting the boxwood, I'm setting the boxwood in where I like it. And notice it's getting kind of tucked in underneath the leaves. 1, 2, I've got 5 pieces of boxwood, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to take this out because I only have 1. Unless I could dash upstairs and get 3. So placing allows you to get a nice even there. That's beautiful. I like that so much. I'm going to go ahead and glue. And gluing works like this. Pull it out, put a little glue on the bottom, remember where it came out of, and slide it back in. Make sure it has contact with something, otherwise it will just slide out when it's hanging on the wall. 2, 3, 4. Sure it's touching something. 5. All right, now I'm going to, lavender is probably going to be the last thing. Maybe not the lavender, but the hydrangea. But the next thing I'm going to do is accent. This is just an accent. If you've gotten the naturally dried eucalyptus, the same thing, right at the bottom back of the leaf. And you can do a layout if you want, or you can just get rid of the stem. You don't need any stem. Just randomly go around the wreath. And they're not getting glued to all the way down into the frame. You want them to show, so they're getting glued onto the base that you've made with the lemon leaves. Notice, I'm not sure how well the lighting is here, but you can see here and here. It's just another texture. It's another color. And it smells good with the hot glue on it too. Randomly place them. It just adds another dimension to an interest to our project. And let's see. Did some on the inside. Now I'm going to do some out on the outside here of the wreath. Lovely. Really like the way this wreath is coming out. Okay. All right. Always be checking yourself, especially if you've spun. I'm pulling right now, I'm pulling the glue cobwebs off. Somebody told me about this great little trick for glue cobwebs. I mean, you can do what I'm doing here, but you can also take a blow dryer on low and hot and blow and melt the glue cobwebs right off. Learn a couple things. You can learn how to moisturize your flowers with the spritzer. Okay, so I'm at the point where I am going to, you may or may not want to add the gold here. Now would be an okay time to do that. You wanted to put that in. So now would be the time to carefully, if you're handling these, you want to handle them very carefully. As you saw when you were wrapping them with wire, they're very fragile. You're doing a placement of, not doing any gluing yet. So you may have to pull back one, pull back some leaves to slide them in there. And we're just doing a little layout, carefully handling them. This thing seems to be bothering me. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 4. Uh-oh. I'm out of room here. I have to shift them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 5th one is going to go in here. All right. Lovely. Okay, and so then you're going to go ahead and put the glue on the bottom. Remember where it came out of and slide it back into place. Okay, so we're bearing down here. This wreath is pretty straightforward with its ingredients. There's not much I can tell you about what you can add to it. There's to be an inspiration to you right now. I think we're more about pansies this time of year than anything else and starting our flower gardens. But because it's just such an awkward time, but you may still find some pods and some grasses and things that have weathered the winter outside that have decorative qualities. I actually can inspire you. I'm going to do that on my work table here. I have some pods and cones, and what do I got? I've got some seashells. You may want to glue in some seashells into your wreath. What else do I have here? If you have any dried flowers, I'm going to show you. This is for another project coming up. Actually, you've done this project before. You did the little garland of bundles, but you can see all these different flowers. If you've got any dried flowers left over, you can add those into your wreath. You can go to your grocery store and get little roses. You can put those into your wreath. You can use those evergreens that I showed you that have dried and then put a color on them. You can add those to your wreath. These are all things that are very available to you. These, I don't know if they survived the winter or not, but these are great fall. This is from the mallow or the wild hibiscus. These pods are really interesting. They're great to add into your wreath. What other cool things do I have here? So we're going to add the hydrangea right now. This is from a potpourri mix. I don't even know what it is, but you can add anything to these wreaths. So I've got my 5 tiny pieces of hydrangea, and we're going to do, I'm going to take these out. We're going to do a layout first. Maybe try doing these hydrangea in between the lavender. You're going to figure out what's best, and keep them small. Remember, this is just an accent. It's not a real part of the project. It is just a delicate little accent, and these tiny little pieces. And I am finding that my rhythm works best in between each of the lavender bunches. So probably even with the boxwood. So there. So they're not glued in yet. Basically, you're going to do the same thing. Pull them out, put a little bit of glue on. They're so lightweight, you really don't hardly need any glue for these hydrangea. Just get a couple little dots of glue on them, push them back into place. And they don't weigh anything. You just need a little contact there. You know what? And they're so easy to work with now that they have been dampened. So you can almost mush them around without them falling apart. Isn't that brilliant? Dried flowers. And in they go. All right. That is my wreath. Anybody want to show me their wreath? Show me your wreath. I'm going to switch my camera to me. Everybody's working away so quietly. Any questions? Everybody's having a good time, I can tell.
Is everyone going to be shy tonight? Or are we all still working?
They're working. They're intently working. Those that I can see are definitely focusing on their project. which is great. It's a good little project. Let's see. Anybody want to show me? Tiffany, hold it up in front of the camera. Yay, yay, that's fantastic. Great. There's a hydrangea. One hydrangea looks really large. If I'm to have give you any critiquing.
I pinned some of you who were showing, so.
All
Ooh,
right, Roseanne, that's beautiful. Lorianne, oh my God, this is so rewarding for me. I really appreciate you guys showing me your wreaths. I guess that means I was pretty good with the description.
That was fun.
Hey, Lori, I didn't get to see yours.
Nice.
Oh, that looks really good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's all kinds of room. You can put a bow on this. You could put a bird nest in it, a little one. Oh, Carmen, that's great.
I want to see Carmen's.
There it is. All right, show us what you got, Margot.
Oh, one of my hydrangeas fell out. Got to put it back in.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so delicious to work with the lavender, and this is beautiful lavender that I gave you
Smells
guys.
so good.
It's
Thank
such-
you very much.
You're
Came out
welcome.
nice.
Well,
Fun.
happy spring, everybody, and happy growing season, and enjoy the daffodils and the pansies and the warm days.
Yeah, thank you for showing your projects. If you're still working
I
on
see,
it,
that's beautiful. All
And-
right.
oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
And if you want to take a picture and send it to me, you can. I emailed everyone today. We're going to be featuring some of our projects we've done on our social media. So if you would like to show off your wreath to the rest of our community, just send it my way and I can post it. And it's a good way for us just to kind of highlight what we've been doing, because we've still been doing a lot of programs for people at home. So we want to show that off. So if you're proud of your wreath and will let me post it, just email it to me. I would appreciate it. I'm going to try to post some things on Thursday. So. Yes, Linda, I see you're still working. That's quite all right. I understand.
All right. Well, I don't know when I'm going to see you all next. Do we have a date? Do we have a date for holiday time?
No, but we
Not
want
yet.
to. So we will work on that because
Oh, Kathy, that's beautiful.
yes,
thank
Kathy.
you.
Oh, it's really good.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
I have another class I have to go to, so I'm going to scoot. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye
you're
now.
busy. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna end the recording at this point. But again, if anyone has questions or needs feedback, just email me. I
And
just wanted to
I'm
take a
here.
Yes, I just want to take a moment to thank Diana for putting these kits together. It's certainly a lot of work to do that. So thank you for doing such a fabulous job and giving us such a nice selection of flowers. So thank you for that. And we'll stay on for a few more moments, but